Welcome to the Urban Wine Club podcast. Pour a glass, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Urban Wine Club podcast.
On today's episode, we'll meet Rob Picardi. Rob is the chef and owner of Cappella Restaurant in Needham. We sat with him in the restaurant for this episode and listened to some great stories.
Sit back, grab a glass, and join us.
Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure and an honor to have you with us. I know it's
And very nice to meet you on my behalf.
Nice to meet you too.
I know you have a pretty busy, tight schedule as being the new addition here to Needham. So we're inside the dining room at Cappella Restaurant in Needham.
Cappella Restaurant.
Right.
Very nice place, beautiful layout. I would eat here, and I'm going to eat here now that I've learned about
You're
it.
better. And we're here with Chef Rob, owner, right? And also the man behind the culinary scene in the kitchen. Rob, not only have we been friends, co-workers, we've been affiliated on different levels. We've done quite a bit of stuff together.
You guys have known each other for what, 20 years?
Since 2006, I want to say, right?
Yeah, it feels longer than that.
It feels longer than that, right?
He usually does with Frank.
But
how did you guys meet, or do you want to start anywhere else?
When I was in the restaurant industry, part of a restaurant group out in Charlestown called Meze at the time. We had a different collaboration where we converted the restaurant to a new concept. And Chef Rob happened to be right out of school, right? You studied over at the Culinary Institute of America in New York.
Oh, cool.
And we had recruited you. There's a little bit of
Oh, you recruited him at Meze?
Thanks to one of our partners at the time, which Anthony Caterano, owner of Preza and other restaurants, had brought you over to work with us.
Yeah, just on the weekends.
On the weekends.
I was still in school. Just on the weekends, coming back, doing that. I was doing some stints in New York, and then they would call me when they needed me. When it ended up being almost like full time. I was in school.
Right.
And I needed cash, so I would come back and work on Saturday nights and Sundays.
Right.
And I ended up staying there like after school because it was like the only job because everything started taking a dive right around when I graduated culinary school. So I was kind of holding on to jobs right away.
Now you have a fascinating story. I mean, you're still a young guy in my opinion. You're probably pushing 25, 30,
35.
All right.
No, I'm not that young anymore.
But for a young individual in the industry, you have in my opinion, a pretty fascinating resume. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you started in being a chef and wanting to cook in this crazy business?
Yeah.
So, I was a football player, and I had every opportunity to be a great football player, and I was getting recruited by a lot of schools. I went to prep school, a school called New Hampton. It was basically back then it was like a jock school.
Yep.
Kind of had to be asked to go there and play. So did good. I had a great stint there, and then I started getting hurt, and my head got all messed up from concussions and blew my knee out. And doctors kind of like, just time to hang it up.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay. So stopped. We made a decision, my parents and I, that I wasn't going to play football anymore. But all the schools I was going to were the schools I wanted to play football at. So I decided, all right, I don't want to go to any school with football. So I enrolled in Suffolk as a finance major.
Yeah.
And I hated it. So
I can see why.
So I just got up one day in the second semester and I just walked out. I saw everyone going to work at the same time, going to lunch at the same time, and going home at the same time. And I was like, I don't want to be that
person.
I just didn't want to be that. And they're all dressed the same.
Just another suit.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you had this epiphany that I'm not doing this anymore. And then...
So I started cooking. I didn't tell my parents I was cooking. And, they got the letter in the mail that I got all zeros on all my classes second semester. And, so it wasn't good. My dad was, fortunately, he's picking up my education. So I was like, yeah, Dad, I think I want to cook. He's like, you're not going to cook. It's too tough of a business. You're never going to make any money. He's like, if you really want to do it, you just work and we'll figure it out. Take a year off school. So I'm just cooking. I'm like, Dad, I want to do this. He's like, all right, now you're going to go out. If you want to really go to CIA, I'm not giving you a dime. He's like, go figure it out. Wow. So I figured it out.
Good for you.
I went to CIA.
And for those of us that don't know the CIA, it's the Culinary Institute of America?
Yeah, in New York. In Hyde Park. So went to Culinary Institute of America, loved it. I started to fall in love with everything about being a chef and my prior experience working in a few restaurants in the city. And everything just started working together. I started staging in a few places in the city. Then I'd come home and I'd work in Boston.
And didn't you also have a short stint over in Italy? Didn't you?
Yeah, that was a little later.
Later, okay.
Yeah, that was a little later. So after CIA, graduated, worked at Copia, and then I started working for like crazy chefs in Boston. I worked for Jeremy Sewell, I worked for Anthony, I worked for Dante.
So you've been around the block.
Marco Fally, Marco Fally was a huge influence on how I cook. So I did him when he had Marco with Matt Abdu, who was a chef over at Del Pozo. Yeah, so I've been around all these great people. So did that, and then eventually started working. I went to Nantucket for a season.
Oh, cool. How was that?
It was awful.
Awful.
Yes.
Nantucket was awful.
Well, behind the scenes, it's awful.
What was it?
So
that was awful?
this is how Nantucket is. Nantucket's like you get there and you just work. It was 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and it was just me and one other guy cooking for like 300-400 people a night. It was crazy, crazy. This is like right around when the economy crashed, 2007, 2008, that summer. So it was like tough, and like nobody was coming. It was like craziness there. So the deal was I would have housing, then they pulled my housing away from me.
Jeez.
And right before Labor Day. Labor Day weekend was like the last huge weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm like, listen, you're going to give me my housing back. I'm gonna leave.
Right.
Like, we're not gonna. You gotta figure it out. So I just hopped on the next
Good.
boat and I left. And my cousin Anthony at Presley, he had a position for me. I was only going to stay there for like 2 or 3 months because I wanted to go out to San Francisco, go cook. And my dream was always to go Napa Valley, go Napa, go down to L.A. and cook West Coast. And I ended up staying at Preza for like 9 years.
And that's Preza in the North End,
Yeah.
owned by chef owner Anthony Caterano, who is also related to you.
Yeah,
right?
he's my cousin. So I ended up becoming the chef there.
Awesome.
After a year of working there, I was really young. I was like 25, 26, however old I was. And became the chef there. Then we had a fire.
Ah, yes.
And we had a fire in like... we had a fire there. And I've been to Italy a few times before that. And we were sitting around the table one day. I'm like, we have this fire. Anthony was good enough to paying us with his business interruption insurance. And so getting paid, I was like, I should go to Italy. So I'm like trying to figure out how I could go cook in Italy.
Oh.
So I had this Italian rep at the time. He's like, just fly over there and I'll hook you up.
Beautiful.
And then, so I had a bunch of family there. So I was in contact with them.
Where in Italy?
So I was down in Avellino, Amalfi,
nice.
and then I went up to Verona, Bologna, Alba. So I was all over the place.
Was that experience better than your Nantucket experience?
Yeah. So Italy was amazing. So flew to Italy, not knowing what the hell was going on. I didn't have a hotel room booked. I had nothing booked. I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants. So I rented.
You're the man of figuring it out.
Yeah. So I was just kind of figuring it out. So I rented a smart car.
So for those of you that know Chef Rob,
yeah, I'm huge.
I think you're bigger than a smart car.
Yeah, I'm bigger than a smart car. So,
How did that work
at the
out?
time I was a little smaller back then.
I'm kidding.
So, went to the smart car, and I just started bouncing around all these places. So I went to Amalfi, got to work in a bunch of restaurants on the Amalfi Coast and see what's going on. I had a person every city I went to. So then I went down to Avellino, where my family's from, Avellino, and my father's side's from Avellino, my mom's side's from Abruzzi. So I went down to Avellino, and I started working in this hotel. And Avellino is right below Naples. Mm-hmm. So it's in Campania, the land of pizza.
The land of pizza.
The land of pizza.
Is that where Neapolitan style pizza comes from?
That's where it comes from. So I started working this. So I lived in this hotel with this guy Robert, and we would go truffle hunting every morning.
You went truffle hunting?
Yeah, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like that's the biggest truffle we found is in that picture right there with dogs and.
He's showing us a picture of him truffle hunting.
And we would go truffle hunting, still black outside, and we truffle hunt every morning. And one morning we had a crazy morning. We're finding all these truffles, and I don't really speak too much Italian, but I can understand. So we're speaking broken English, broken Italian back and forth to each other.
Did you need permission to do this?
Well,
how did you go out there?
It's Italy. You don't need permission to do anything.
Did you have were you protected in case someone?
Well, the guy in Italy, you're not allowed to have handguns. This guy. So this is part of the story. So we have all these dogs, and we roll to our spot. We're going to travel hunting. This old abandoned monastery. It's right there. So we pull up. It's like my second day there. So we pull up to this garage, and he covers like his truck. He's like off-road truck with like all these branches and a door. And he's like, I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird. He's like hiding his truck. Like, who's gonna come out in the middle of the woods? So we start truffle hunting, and we start walking the woods. And now we're in the middle of the woods, and he looks at me. And he tells me in Italian that he has a gun. Don't tell anyone he has a gun because you're not allowed to have handgun in Italy.
Oh boy!
And he's like, if you see anybody, tell me right away. The dogs will alert me, but tell me, and we got to hide because the economy is so bad there that truffles are worth more than the actual
the currency.
Yeah, it's like hot, and truffles are really hard to find at this time. So wine was good, truffles are bad. And he's like, you see anybody, we got to hide. The dogs will alert me. He goes, don't talk to anybody. Don't tell anyone where we are. He's like, didn't want me to mark it on my phone or anything. So we're walking through the woods, we start seeing people. And he starts like just diving in ditches. And I'm look, we found the dogs. Like he had trained the dogs to stay low. So like when you unearth a truffle in the middle of the woods, you can smell it for 100 yards away, depending on how like
they're very pungent.
Yeah, it's insane. Like so, all the dirt around it all smells like truffle, but you can smell it by the wind. So whatever way the wind's blowing, you can smell like somebody unearthing a truffle. For like you can't see it, but you can smell it through the air. So that's what's happening with us. So we're finding so many, and we have this huge sack, and it just stinks like cigarettes and truffles, right? And so we're finding all these truffles, and now it's time to go. So he's like, okay, we're going. He's like, keep up, and he just starts booking it through the woods, like running as fast as he can, and he knows the woods really well. I'm like, I can't believe how fast this guy's running. So I'm sprinting after him. You're in the dark. Yeah. No, it's light out now. So it's light out now. So now we're sprinting out of the woods. Dogs are going, and then all of a sudden we hear like a group of people coming. And he dives in the creek.
Jeez.
And he takes his pistol and he cocks it.
Oh my God.
And he starts pointing it to the people. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to die in the middle of the woods in Italy. That was like my only thought that was going through my head.
What a way to go.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe it's my final moments. Listen, truffle hunting sucks because it's like, it's like basically you're literally hiking. I'm like, I can't believe I'm going out like this. And the dog's real quiet and the people pass us. And I'm watching the people pass us. I look back and this guy's already gone. So we jump in his car, his 4x4, and he just books in reverse. And like we don't uncover it, and we go straight down a hill behind us, and logs, and it was crazy. We were going reverse down a hill, and he's like just looking at me laughing. I'm like, this guy is absolutely out of his mind. Out of his mind.
So I think you have an appreciation for truffles now, don't you?
Yeah. So we go to our next pub. We find a bunch of truffles. So we go back to the hotel. We eat a little lunch. I fall asleep. And so he comes and he wakes me and he's like, yeah, come on, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go do something. So I'm like, okay, he's all dressed nice. So I put jeans on and a shirt and we book it. And we get in his car. But before we get in the car, we go to the walk-in and he has all the truffles in like these big 5-gallon glass jars. And we have puccini's, black truffles, and white truffles. So we grab everything we have and we put it in the back of his car and we start flying down the autostrada. So we get to like this random place, this random gas station in the middle of nowhere, and we pull around back. And it's a truffle auction, an illegal truffle auction.
Black market.
Black market truffle auction.
Like, just out of curiosity, how much?
That's crazy.
We have like
how much value of mushrooms were on that truck?
In his car, I don't know. We had like probably 20. We had probably 20 pounds of truffles, easy.
So you're talking about
hundreds of
$200,000 worth of mushrooms.
I would probably say less. I never knew because I couldn't understand.
Right.
That's
so
insane.
It was insane, and the truffles were real expensive. So we get to the back of this market. It's all Americans that are buying these truffles, and then people from Alba, and they're all telling me, it's like, oh, you don't tell anyone. Everything's secretive in Italy. So they're like, don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone, but everyone knows.
Yeah, it's like how much to tell anyone? I don't even know where I am. I'm like, I'm only here for a short stint. Like, I'm not gonna tell anybody. So we're talking, and I start talking to a bunch of Americans, and they're telling me the secret with truffles. And the secret with truffles, and that there's no truffles really in the north anymore in Alba. It's all a ruse. And at the time, they had the big truffle festival. So all these people are down there from Alba, and they're all buying the truffles there. And they're
bringing them back up?
Bringing them back up, or they're taking them and they ship them to the U.S. And they don't go anywhere else. You go up there and then over here. So the auction's over, right? And everyone has like 50,000 euro like bills, or whatever, 10,000 euro bills. That's all anyone has. And they just weigh them, bam, bam, and it happens in 30 seconds. And everyone closes up at the same time, and they all get a beer, a glass of wine at the gas station, and they all leave at the
awesome.
exact same time.
Wow.
Like unison. It was like crazy. So I'm like sitting there, like no idea what the hell just happened. You know, it's taking me like 20 minutes to process. I'm asking him in the car what's happening. He's got a huge smile on his face, and he shows me this wad of cash. He's like, today was a good day. And we're flying down the highway, and like that night we went back, and we had to make wine that night. So before we started making the wine, we
So hold on 1 second. One day you're unearthing truffles, and the next day you're making wine.
no, this is all the same day.
Same day.
It's the same day. It's the same day. So we go back.
Italy.
So we go back. He's like, go take a nap for like 20 minutes. Come down and we'll make dinner. So he's got his mother there and his huge freaking dinner, and it's like a 7-course truffle dinner that the mother's cooking for us, and it was just like insane. But and then we had a little bit of gravy, and they had like the pork skin, the lamb, the gravy, and then you eat the pasta and the gravy, and we have all these truffles, and I'm like, it was the best meal I've ever had. And there, it's only Taurasi grape. So he's only making Taurasi, which is like the typical grape of Avellino.
Campagna, right?
Okay.
Like
Campagna.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Taurasi's good there, because you're making it.
And then you're in the moment. You're in the environment.
Yeah, you're in the moment. So
Experience.
it's like he's whipping out Taurasi with dust all over it. We go down to a cellar to go make the wine, and we're just hammered, off Taurasi. I'm like, oh, I love Taurasi, and it's unbelievable wine. We're drinking stuff that's, I don't know, from the 70s, 60s, and we're having a great time. And then they make like a alcohol off the Taurasi that's more of a concentrated alcohol. It's phenomenal. So that's all I drank then was Taurasi grape and 8 truffles, and it was an amazing experience. But we would hunt wild boar and cook the tringale and do that for dinner and do like the lamb dinner.
This is like a script.
awesome,
This is like
yeah.
a script for either a show or a movie.
Right.
In
Yeah,
itself.
so in the hotel they had, they would do pizza, Campagna pizza, and so I worked with this guy who was one of the most famous pizza makers in all Campagna, but he was a drunk, he was a burnout, so he lived in a hotel, and like this was his job. So he basically worked to live there.
Right.
So he taught me how to make Neapolitan sauce for like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I would just sit there.
And that's a process.
Yeah, it was a process. We'd make dough every night. We'd do all the cheeses. And next door was a mozzarella shop. So everything for the pizza was made right in this little village. So the olive oil was right behind us. The factory for olive oil was right there. So we'd go make olive oil. The guy next door was making making mozzarella. It was insane. So everything was right there, right in like 3 stores away. So it was a hotel, mozzarella shop, olive oil shop.
It's
a Salumeria. It was insane.
It's like this, like exactly what you said. Like, how would you picture in a movie somebody going to Italy and living? But in reality, it usually doesn't happen like that. But it really sounds like it.
As an American.
Yeah, and everyone knew I was the American, so everyone was like staring at me, and like all the little kids would run up to me and like start talking to me in Italian, like I was like just like I don't know, like some kind of sideshow.
Right.
And so it was pretty funny, I was like in this like little village, probably like I don't know, 80 people lived there. Felt like you never see anyone in the streets.
So how long were you out there for? All in all,
I was out there for a couple months.
And that was just enough time for the restaurant Preza to kind of be rebuilt and for you to come back and be like fresh and ready after this Taylor experience.
So after that, I went up to Florence de Alba. I worked in Alba, and I went to Verona, and I had a great experience, like making risotto, living on a risotto farm, a rice farm in Verona. So I did that. Bologna was insane. Just doing like starching around.
Could you say that your short experience in Italy versus your educational experience at CIA, did you get more out of that experience in Italy than you?
Oh yeah, but by far. So I got to cook with my family there, my great aunts. So like, they told me a lot of old family secrets about food. But I would say that. But my technique at CIA is invaluable. How they teach you how you cook from these French
and then
guys.
You apply what you learned in Italy.
But my mindset when I came back was completely different. When I came back from Italy, and that's how I cook now.
Your appreciation for food and
simplicity, and like it's kind of a word that I use, but I learned in Italy you don't need 50, 60 ingredients in a dish. 20 ingredients. It's like 4 or 5 things. Quality on the dish. That's what people want to eat. Yeah. Light. No one wants heavy stuff.
Well, I've seen that over the years with you, known you as a chef, that your dishes basically portray exactly what you said, flavorful but simple.
Exactly. And like I'm not into crazy plating, and I'm not into crazy. I did foams. I don't do foams anymore. I don't do any of these like emulsions like certain types of emulsions. I'm not doing
a lot of that's
grill.
more entertainment, in my opinion, than anything.
Yeah.
But so you come back from Italy, you're back behind the fire at Preza.
So we wrote the menu for Preza based on like what I saw. We kept the classics, and we opened up to like crazy globe review to to what we did. And, so like Prezzo's back out of the fire was like a big deal. All the food we did, and that I learned in Italy. And we're doing and executing. It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
And everything's cooked to the minute. And it was crazy. So we had a great run. I had a great run there. And then a few years later, this kind of came about. And I got married, opened up a restaurant, now I'm having twins. So
Congratulations.
Like 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. So it's been like...
You're putting everything on the fire.
Everything's crazy. It's crazy. It feels like one day.
How life works out.
It really feels like one day.
So I wouldn't say maybe good 10 years at Prezza, and then you decided that, it's time for me to do my own thing. Time to move
on your own.
Yeah.
And I remember you were scouting for locations for a while, right? I remember kind of,
Did
touching
you
base
go
with
from
you.
Prezza to here?
Yeah, I went from Prezza to here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like, I want to do Prezza the respect of like not working anywhere else.
Yeah.
So what was that moment that you said to yourself, this is the place?
This place.
So we're in the space here in Needham at Cappella. So this used to be the old former Petit Robert location. So,
okay.
You walked in here, and what was it about this space that you said, this is it? I mean, I think everyone has that moment. That,
all right, so let me give you like the background of how I'll do it quick. So I tried to open in Boston. Boston didn't work out. I'm happy Boston didn't work out.
Yeah.
Boston twice. So Boston twice didn't work out. Then I tried to open up in Andover. I'm from North Andover. Couldn't get anything going in North Andover. There was no space available. Nothing. Everywhere was busy in North Andover. No one's leaving.
Right.
It's gold mine.
Okay.
So then I find a space in North Andover. The rent's too high, like crazy, like $14,000, $15,000 for rent. It's like insane, and there's no parking. So it's like I think the most important thing with being in the suburbs is having the mix of rent and parking. I think it's like a must. I couldn't find it in Andover. I couldn't find it in North Andover. I couldn't find it anywhere really in the Merrimack Valley. So it's really the tearing. So I'm like, I didn't want to do it, and so I held out for a while, and then this popped up, and I'm like, oh, this has parking, and it has parking on both sides. It's like 600 spaces around here, but they're always full. And then I was like, 2 lots. There's a private lot over here that's always empty at night, and then this huge public lot over here, and then there's all the street parking. So I'm like, that's 3 places for people to park.
Okay.
That you could always find parking, and the rent was good. So I'm like, yeah. And then the demographics of this area really intrigued me, and I thought if I could open here and do what I want to do, I could have support. And things have been good since,
I commend you. I have heard nothing but great reviews. I've dined here myself. A lot of our family and friends and network have dined here. I think that's probably and correct me if you want to, but I think it's like a Prezza of Needham in a sense, because you bring that element here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you have your own identity, you have your own style, but the experience here is by far, I think, you really think that you are in a Boston setting.
Yeah, that's how we did it. We did a lot of the copper tables. I did this crazy port floor and wainscoting, dark wainscoting over the walls, cold steel, hot rolled steel everywhere. So I did that. It was too loud, so I put a bunch of sound paneling in, and you see everywhere. But it was kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be a neighborhood place.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have people just have that little extra special experience when they came
factor.
in here. Yeah, just a little bit, and do food that is relatable, but just done better.
I agree.
That's it.
And as the Urban Wine Club, we always want to mention, the great cooking that you have here is accompanied by a very well curated wine program. And I got to say the selections on the wine list are very approachable. They're interesting, and they really suit the menu that you put out here as well.
Yeah, so I have a great general manager who's a level 2 or level 3 som. I don't know. It's like the som thing I'm not too familiar with. It's impossible to keep up with.
Right.
But he's super knowledgeable about wine, and it's he can tell you who made a vintage, what winemaker made a vintage on most wines. He's like that into it. That's something. It's like knowing baseball statistics. Right. Like this is how much this guy knows. He was a wine director over at Del Frisco's, and he worked for Brom over at Grill 23. So he's coming through this crazy background of wine, and he built a great wine list. So
it's very commendable. I highly recommend for those of us.
Any favorites on this list, or any recommendations from his list?
So what's crazy about this list is we have this list and then we have another list. So this is a list we show most people, and then
So who gets the other list?
So here's the deal with the other list. The other list is a little more like reserve.
Right.
So
Okay.
that list essentially before.
Right.
We have like
Special
2000
list.
Mouton and crazy Opus 1s on there, and Screaming
So if
Eagles
you-
on that list.
If you want to
Vintage
spend a little
Dons.
money, you got it, right?
Yeah, so we give this list out. This is like the approachable list, like to make people feel comfortable. I don't want to really advertise the list unless people are in the know about it, because I don't want to put people off. It's like
That's
it's
smart.
there if you want it.
Right.
If you want to come in and get a deal, that reserve list's a deal. But a lot of people don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If some typical person like me
right.
comes in here, like I would be more comfortable when I say that, and
Exactly.
I'd be a little intimidated by the other one.
So a lot of the vintage, Bordeaux wines we have, they say to be like $6,000 on a list in Boston. They're like $2 here. So we're giving that
coming
much.
here.
Yeah. So so that's kind of like
Crazy.
how it is here,
Yes.
but still people would, if I put that on the internet, people would get turned off by it and not come in.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of hide the list a little bit.
Sure.
And so, Rob, tell us, for our listening audience, tell us a little, in a nutshell, about Cappella and what you offer, and anything that would intrigue our guests to check you out. Basically, your background alone is intriguing for people to come try it out the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're here 7 days a week.
Unfortunately.
Yep. Fortunate for us.
I'm here a lot. I got a great team right now. I'm very, very, very happy with our staff. Most of our guys are trained in Boston that are serving and cooking. But we have a wood grill back there, and we do all prime beef. So
wow.
capsteak prime from Brant. We do an unbelievable sirloin special basically every night by Demkota Ranch prime. We do a huge 38-ounce tomahawk prime Brant beef. Chicken's all organic. Pork's all ABF, antibiotic free.
What about your pastas?
Pastas are made every single day
From scratch, in-house.
In-house.
Wow.
Either by hand or extruded. I got a crazy machine from Italy, breast eyes, that we do. All the sauces are made for hours.
Jeez.
And then our bar is great. We don't really do too much crafty cocktails, but we do solid, good cocktails that are approachable. And we do a prime burger, chicken wings on that menu, salads. So we're trying to hit the points for everybody.
I was going to say, you could come in here and have an elegant, delicious meal. You could sit at the bar. You could kind of hang out, have, more, what would you call it, like a bar.
Casual.
Snacks.
More social
Yeah.
setting at the bar.
Because the layout is great. Everybody out there
Now,
should.
you open for lunch?
No, stop lunch. Stop lunch.
All right.
I couldn't get lunch going.
We're just dinner, right?
Yeah, so I'm just doing dinner right now.
You do some cool events during the week?
Yeah, so we have this new concept that we're doing. We've done about 3 or 4 of these nights called Wine Wednesdays. And it's $40
cool.
all-inclusive ticket for tax and gratuity included. We just cook a bunch of food. And we have wine people, wine reps from different companies that come and just pour their wine. So there's like 6-7 different wines every Wine Wednesday. And it's kind of like, we're not really regulating you on like, say, okay, 3 ounce each. Kind of like come in and just kind of like
Enjoy yourself.
Let it flow.
Right.
Yeah.
And you take reservations.
Yep. Reservation on Resi.
And
Can you give the web address?
It's CapellaRestaurant.com.
and if you were to spell Cappella,
CAPPELLA.
Double P, double L.
Yep.
restaurant.com.
Yep.
And you can book reservations online.
Yep. Do the website. If you ever want to check out our Wine Wednesday things, or
And what night is that on?
It's on
No, I'm
Wednesday.
just kidding.
I don't know when the next one's going to be, because we just did one. We did the Feast of 7 Fishes theme.
Oh,
we did
nice.
like a bunch of different fish. Supposed to be 7, and we did 13 fish, and we did ton of whites. But those are on our Facebook at Capella Restaurant. And you can buy tickets through Facebook.
Right.
Oh, cool.
So you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram,
Yeah.
all that cool stuff.
Instagram's great because we're huge. Fancy Gourmet's a huge follower of us.
I noticed.
And they're in all the time. It's
That's
unbelievable. So they just posted a video of we do this truffle pecorino cheese wheel. So we put a bunch of pasta in a cheese wheel.
Oh, I saw that.
It's made of truffles.
That's insane.
And it's huge. It's like really, really popular
So
dish.
you just put the pasta inside the wheel of cheese and you swirl
Yeah,
the
so
cheese.
yeah,
like
we
this cheesy
That's awesome.
pasta.
It's all like truffle, and we make a cacio e pepe. It's pecorino, so we throw pepper in there. So it's truffle cacio e pepe out of the truffle wheel. And so they just
getting
put a
hungry.
video. We get like I think they have 35,000 views on there.
Gee.
Wow, awesome.
So we were just on Phantom. We're back on Phantom again this weekend, 10 a.m. Sunday. Check it out.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
check that out.
And we're in studio, so they're huge supporters, and we're just trying to drive the business, and we're trying to.
You're doing a great
Yeah,
job.
we're just trying to make everyone
job.
happy that comes in these doors.
Yeah.
We love all of our listening audience to check out Cappella Restaurant in Needham. And the last thing that I wanted to kind of send us off on is asking you, Chef, when it comes to you ordering wine, or what is your wine? What does Chef Rob drink for wine these days?
Man, I'm like,
I know it's a loaded question, but
that's so tough.
but
So I'm not drinking a lot of Cali right now.
Okay.
I'm all about Italy,
okay.
and it depends on the mood and the year I'm in.
And I think we're drinking some Italian white wine today.
Yeah,
And
I
what
really
is it?
love the Etna
let's
stuff.
have a cheers to Chef Rob and allowing us at the Urban Wine Club to spend some time with him.
Cheers.
Because I know that the kitchen staff is waiting for him. But so you're all about Italian. And that's great. A lot of great Italian wines coming all over, north, south, Sardinia, Sicily. It's all great. But Chef, we just wanted to thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you for having us here.
thank you.
It's a great place. It's beautiful. Check it out. Go to the website, the address,
CapellaRestaurant.com.
and the physical address.
45 Chapel Street in Needham.
Needham.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you.